Right. Hugo, Bay. Good boy. Just wait. We need to figure out why yet again this silly YouTube app is insisting it's got to be in portrait mode. So, oh, am I in portrait mode? Because this should be horizontal, but for some reason YouTube's insisting it wants to be thingy. But I'm just going to stream like this. Am I on the side? I can't even see anyone in the chat, so I didn't even bother advertising this live stream. It's not that sort of a live stream. I just needed to get out. So we're no landscape, so as in we're not in landscape, or it is in landscape, or what? Because YouTube was just telling me I have to rotate the device. Hello Connie, my darling. Hello Sandy, and hello my darling. Daily Survival. Oh dear, Antonio in the house. Hello. So we're on a midnight walk. It's obviously past midnight at the moment. And you know what? Hugo's already actually been, he's already been for a walk today. So we're just chilling out. Della, my beautiful one, where you been bugging out? We'll get into that. We'll get into that, honey. Oh dear. So welcome everybody. It's Friday night. Friday night, January, whatever it is, the 24th. And we are bugging out, going into wilderness. I've already hugged my first tree and grounded myself, which, oi oi, Savaloy, purple flaps in the house. Bear in mind my, the live text chat's only come up for a small period of time. I didn't bother advertising this, I didn't post it on Discord or anything. I was kind of hoping nobody would turn up, to be honest. I just feel bad that I've been offline for a couple of weeks with no explanation, and people who are close to me understand what happens every year this time of year for me, and I deal with it the best way I can, and sometimes it's not the way other people want me to deal with it, and I apologise for that. We can only do our best. Oh dear. So yeah, I just needed to get rid of all the cortisol running through my veins, and getting out into nature is a pretty good stress reliever for me. That's really a big point of Sigma Prepper, not just as a brand or as a business, but as an ethos. It's all about, you know, finding ways to gain peace and inner peace, right? And for some people that peace comes from the feeling of preparedness, right? I know it always has done for me, right? People who are like considered, like particularly a lot of my friends, right? And people I've met over the years who have a similar sort of neurodivergence, sort of have a very similar things, and people have different ways of dealing with it, right? And yeah, I think for me, what Sigma Prep is good at for me is getting me into the wilderness, getting me into nature, and helping me to relieve. Paul C in the house. Already past my bedtime, says Paul. It's lovely to see you, my man. It's lovely to see you. That was kind of the point, you know. Just to let you know I'm still alive. Still kicking. Despite the struggle. And despite everything sent against me. But we don't let shit like that beat us. Yeah. So... yeah, so winter time. Hugo Bear. We can't go that way, there's no signal. We're forced to go this way, baby boy. I'm sorry. Come on in, we'll go this way. You'll like it this way. So yeah, I don't really enjoy this time of year, and it affects me so badly that I end up having to go what my wife calls mad professor mode. For those that don't know, I kind of do a lot of stuff, electronic engineering, programming, you know, software development, product design, book writing, yeah. And so I find my way of dealing with it, and dealing with what I deal with in the wintertime is to lock myself away, do my writing, do my creative stuff, work 20 hours a day, sleep for 4, don't go anywhere, don't get changed, don't get dressed, or at least changed out of being dressed, just literally wake up straight from like the bed, make tea, take it to my office. It's at the end of the garden, and I sit in there and I don't come out of there until I literally cannot do any more, to literally the point of failure. Like when I was bodybuilder back in the day, right, you train to failure, and I think that's always stuck with me. So I end up driving myself into not a very healthy environment where, yeah, you know, mad professor mode, like Honey I Shrunk the Kids, you know. Magic Hand won't see me for several days, and I don't shave for a week. You know, I don't want to be seen publicly. I'm not a very public person anyway. I hate it. There you go, I said it. I fucking hate it. It's not natural to me. It's way out of my comfort zone. I've never been I've always overcome my quirks and shit and discomfort around them situations with all sorts of strategies, all sorts of self-development training and techniques to overcome my natural not wanting to be public or anyone to see me, to hide myself away in my creativity and just create. You know, there's some that plant the seeds and there's some that take the fruit. And I've always been a seed planter, not a fruit taker. And it's bad news. It's really affected a lot because, of course, I haven't been paid this month, and I didn't get paid the month before, and I didn't make any money in November. So, yeah, I've just been running on fumes, and what I should have been doing is a video every day, but I just can't bring myself to do it. Not right now with the way I am, I'm sorry. And so, if I have to come out for a walk at midnight with Hugo Bear to catch up with you, and everything that I'm doing in the office is for Sigma Prepper, right? Believe me, I've got a lot of shit that I'm working on. I can't wait to make available to you all. And so it's a massive sacrifice, and people question it with me all the time. They're like, why do you do all this for nothing? You know, you never get paid any money for anything you do. Why do you even bother? And sometimes I really struggle to answer and justify that, yeah. Because if I was in a full-time job, I'd be on 120 grand a year doing what I'd normally do, and I have given that up for the last 4 years trying to build this business, and had everything that YouTube could do to destroy my business do it. And I've already had a channel destroyed in November from YouTube, so that's why I didn't get paid in November, December, or this month. And I won't be getting any money next month either, even the money that was generated on YouTube last month, yeah. So, pretty difficult situation, and I don't want to have to jack it all in because I can't afford to keep running Sigma Prepper, because that's where I'm at right now. I've spent over 130,000, 140,000 pounds worth of investment of my time and materials and everything else to get this far with Sigma Prepper, and all I've had is shadow bannings, yeah, de-ranking on Google, and I've never done anything on this channel, right? Subscribers being taken away every single day. It's very frustrating, and you know, I put my heart and soul into the videos I do, because I don't do videos if I don't feel like there's going to be any value in it, right? I've never been one of these guys to just do videos for the sake of doing videos to make money. If I don't have anything of value to say, then what's the point, yeah? I just don't operate like that. I'm not interested in that shit. And unfortunately, the way capitalism works is, you know, Hugo doing his divots. Oh dear. Anyway, I wasn't going to talk about any of that, so I do apologise. I'm fucking useless. Anyway, so yeah, it's been a struggle, but not a struggle. It's just the way I deal with it. And like I say, the thing for me is it makes it extremely difficult for me to do videos. I'm sorry, baby, we're going this way. It's way too muddy. No, this way. Come. Hugo, come on in. It's late, man. There's one house here on the left, I think. So we have to be quiet when we go past it. Oh man, so I do apologise. I'll probably start getting back and rocking, but when I'm involved in a big project, and particularly things like product development, like I'm doing Sigma Prep at the moment, and again, I don't have any money to do it, so I'm going to do everything myself, and I don't think I'm going to be able to keep my internet running this month. And Magic Hands had some big issues as well that I've been having to help her with. She's on the brink of being unemployed at the same time, and yeah, it's just fucking bad news. And I just refuse to have to get to the point where Sigma Prepper's gone and shut down. And we're close. We're very close. So I appreciate everybody who's supported the channel. I really appreciate the Patreon members. I need to be doing a behind the scenes video for you guys, because my data on this mobile phone wouldn't even still be running if it hadn't been for you. So thank you. I was planning to come out yesterday actually, but the network that I'm on, ironically, was completely down. So there was no data and couldn't make any phone calls. So that was interesting. That was the day before yesterday. And then yesterday, it was windy and rainy as anything. So I thought, that's not exactly a good time either. But tonight is the night. And yeah, I didn't actually realise it had been that long since I made a video. I thought it was a week I'd taken out, and then I thought, oh no, this is like the second Warzone Wednesday I haven't done. I say the second, obviously, because we had the Christmas Day on Wednesday and the New Year's Day, so it didn't feel appropriate to be doing Warzone Wednesday on a fucking Christmas Day, right? So, yeah. And it suddenly occurred to me, I looked at my videos, I thought, yeah man, it's been way longer than I thought. Again, this is what happens when you bury yourself away like a lunatic. You know, it just... But no, I'm glad I'm glad I'm online right now, put it that way, because like people who know me know that, you know, it's a little bit like, you know, if you start dating someone and then you ghost them and stuff, and you start feeling, not purposefully, but you know, it just, the longer it goes, or like if someone sent you a Christmas gift and like you haven't remembered, or you haven't got round to thanking them for like a month, and then the longer it goes on, the more difficult it is to then, you know, approach the subject, right? And that's a little bit what happens to me, yeah. And then you think, you know what, I just need to do something to break the ice, and then I'll be alright again. So it's completely for selfish purposes, yeah. Right, Hugo, babe, we're going this way. Hugo, we're going this way, mister. Come on, no protesting. Come on, this is where the cool doggies go. Hugo, where the cool doggies go, come on. That's the way the cats go, man. This is the way the dogs go. At least I've got my Steadicam gimbal thing today, so it shouldn't be too horrific, even though it's low light conditions. But my Olight H2R head torch is doing a fabulous job. Oh, it's fabulous. Oh, Drew, how fabulous. Right, time for me to have a little ciggy break. What are you doing then? Come on. On we go to find the wildlife. Come on. Wee. So Hugo seems alright at the moment. He's happy. He's doing a lot of sleeping. He hasn't actually been out for a walk. I don't think yesterday he went anywhere, so it's not too bad though. He survived. It was about 6 degrees centigrade. So times that by 2. Yeah, add 33 on. So what's that? Now give you the Fahrenheit. Something like it. Yeah. About 50. 50 degree. So yeah, it's been quite an interesting couple of weeks. I haven't really, I mean, I've been keeping up with things that have been going on, but not to the point where I felt the need to report on anything. I'm actually quite concerned about a lot of shit that's going on, and I'm not quite sure what I think about it really until double it and add 30. Yeah, 33 I think it is. Or is it? I think you add 2, then double it and add 33. That's what a pilot told me once. I think it was an airline pilot when I used to fly planes and helicopters. Not real ones. I've flown a real helicopter before, obviously, but not a plane. I've flown model planes and model helicopters, but yeah, I've had a couple of flying lessons in a helicopter. I used to fly competitively helicopters back in the day. But yeah, I really miss flying, I've got to tell you. That used to be one of my therapies. Taking your RC plane out in the sunset, right? Having a little poot all along in the sky. Free as a bird, 6 degrees I think it is. When I looked on the way out, it was 6.5, was it? 6.3 degrees centigrade. Usually I say if Hugo Bear, if it's single digit territory in Celsius, then usually I'll put Hugo's coat on, but it's actually quite mild feeling. It's not actually chilly feeling, funny enough. So that'll be to do with the humidity probably. I hope the footage is alright. I haven't got my head torch on maximum beam, but it should be. And I'm sorry it's not, well, I'm not sorry it's not me, but I'm sure most people are quite happy with the fact that I'm not in it. Can you not fly now, Drew? I don't have a 43, I won't far out. So yeah, if you do 6, I'm just trying to think which way around it is now. Right. Sorry, I'm trying to get the chat window up. I can't see anything that's going on. Oh, here we go. Kicking up the turf. So yeah, I don't think it's particularly cold. I've just got a fleece on and my main tactical fleece on top of that. So can I not fly now, Drew? No, I have actually got a model plane and thing, but what pissed me off is the British government doesn't want us flying anymore. And the sort of models that I fly are quite large things, typically. And they changed the regulations, so now you need to have a license to fly a fucking model aircraft, which is pathetic, and I refuse. Yeah, I've been flying since I was fucking 9 years old. 9 years old. Yeah, like I'm gonna have a government tell me what's safe to do with a drone or an RC plane or not. What a joke. Absolutely not. It's just another one of my hobbies that the government's taken from me. That's the 4th one in the last 10 years that I've been back in this country that the government has regulated out of existence. So yeah, thanks for that. Brilliant. So yeah, you don't really, I'm really, yeah. So yeah, I just kind of lost the mojo on that. It destroyed an entire business of mine, right? I created a aerial photography business in 2004, right? So not only have I been flying since 12, I was doing, flying model helicopters with massive camera rigs under them, like 20 years ago, before DJI even existed. I was one of the guys that helped develop the technology that exists today. Whether you believe that or not, I don't even care. You go to RC forums and you rewind back to 2002 and you'll see it was me and 2 other guys who set the whole drone thing off. Before that, there was no such thing as a drone. It wasn't called a drone, it was just called a quadcopter or a hexacopter. In fact, hexacopters were more popular than quadcopters, and me and 2 other guys developed the very first, claim to fame here, we developed the very first quadcopter to ever exist, and it didn't even use electric motors. It had one 2-stroke in centrally, and the actual hubs were made with RC helicopter tail rotors with variable pitch. Yeah, that was how you got the variable lift. And yeah, there was no accelerometers or anything back then. You had like literally piezo gyros was how we did it. So it just is a bit annoying, you know, when you've come from that and helped build that industry over the years, and I've flown competitively, I've represented, you know, certain brands in the UK as a flyer, and then they say, oh, you're not allowed to do that anymore until you've got a license. The fuck. So I know that seems silly, but there's just principle in that. So I just felt like that's just another one of my hobbies that the government's taken away from me. And do you know what, right, I suppose, do you know what the final straw was for me? Is when I saw how well the government's propaganda had worked, right, which was, I took off, I had a commercial drone which I was test flying because I had a job, I was being flown out to Thailand by one of my clients, right, to do a massive video shoot of about 14, like $2 million plus, 14, $2 million plus, like vacation rental properties, right, in Thailand. So I had to do that, took all my drone equipment and stuff, right, and about 3 weeks leading up to that, I was taking off there's like a playing field quite near my house, right, literally a stone's throw away, and so that was where I would do my prototyping test flights and stuff before my commercial job in Thailand, right? And this job was worth a lot of money, so it had to go right. Yeah, I couldn't have any error. If I had some problem, then that would be the end of the shoot. And if you're flying 17,000 miles around the world to do a shoot, believe me, you know. So I'm taking off, right, from this playing field, and I get some woman in her back garden, right, that backs onto the playing field, and she's like, why don't you fuck off, you pervert? Fuck off, you pervert. Like this. It's like, wow. Wow, all they see is like a drone. It's like, oh, they must be trying to peer through your window. And it's at that point that I realised how well the British propaganda and the Western propaganda to completely destroy the drone industry. And the only reason why is because both Amazon and Google plan to have drone delivery services, but the FAA had said no, you're not allowed to, because that airspace, yeah, is owned by the RC hobbyist and always has been. And basically Amazon and Google were basically like, hold my beer, we'll see to that. And within 6 years they destroyed the industry. Yeah, Google and Amazon between them, and the governments obviously, right? And it was purely and only so that they could dominate the skies with the plans they've got. And that includes drone surveillance systems that the police have already started buying and purchasing in multiple Western countries. Yeah, so it just makes it even more evil that you lose a hobby just because people want to be even more of a monopoly on things than they already are. But anyway, like my Murphys, I'm not bitter. So yeah, I kind of moved on, but I do miss flying in all senses of it. The reactions are entertaining, especially from industrial auditors. Crocodilius in the house, back from the pub, home and wind down. I don't have anything to say at all, so if you want any sort of super insightful stuff, that's just not the sort of Drew you're going to hear from today. There's a reason I haven't done a video for like nearly a month. Right at the point where I'm trying to, you know, survive on fumes and basically unlikely to survive another 60 days running Sigma Prepper. So you would think I'd be doing videos every day to try and get the sheets sorted out, but that's how difficult it is for me to just do a video, because it's just not as easy as that, and I hate it. I don't hate making videos, because I really love helping people. That's what I get off on. But the making the videos, the putting yourself out there, the being public thing, all the abuse I get, yeah, all the people trying to tell me I'm thick as shit, I don't know what I'm talking about, yeah. You know, it's a lot to deal with. I mean, I'm not bothered about it. I know what I know about it or not. I've written fucking books on the subject, so, you know, you don't even need to have an ego when you know where you stand in the industry and what you've done over the last 25 years towards the prepping industry, yeah, through various different channels. But you're still putting yourself out there for abuse, right? You're still putting yourself out there just for people being haters, right? Talking of haters, I noticed Anthony's joined the Discord server again, so let's hope he can behave himself this time. We'll see. We'll see. I'm in a bit of a zero tolerance mood from now on, to be honest, so anyone start fucking with me from now on, they're gone. Yeah, if you're not helping me, you're in my fucking way. Right? So that's how shit's gonna be from now on. Yeah. People want to see that scary fucking wizard of me, they're gonna see it, believe me, they're gonna see it, because I'm done. I am fucking done. Yeah? So, and that includes people like CJ as well. I see that guy anywhere near my channel. Right. So yeah, I just don't have any tolerance anymore. Yeah, because there comes a point in time where you always being the nice guy, you know, people confuse niceness with weakness. So you need to get shit back in check now and again. Yeah. And that's down to you to do it. Right? So you got to set your boundaries, yeah, and it's very difficult as a creator, yeah, because anyone who's creative in that way is generally operating on a side of a brain that's the opposite side of the brain to these guys who just want to be famous, yeah, and have loads and loads of subscribers to be famous. Whereas, as I was chatting to Sandy on the way out here, you know, it's just completely, yeah, I just. It's nice being out though. We might as well go to the lake actually, it's up here. Do you know the lake where I got water from to do my trial for the Sawyer mini filter and stuff? So that lake's up here. Hugo really loves it. So we'll go and check out the lake for him. And he's done his favourite things. And then we've all been happy. So yeah, I'm really not a big fan of this time of year. It does me in. It's already the second most miserable country on the planet by the most recent survey, only second to Somalia. And when it's winter time in the UK, with no vitamin D, no sun, right, it's an onslaught. And if you're already sensitive to that from like a mental health point of view, not in terms of bad mental health, but as in you're just sensitive to that, it can be pretty horrific for people. You know, in the UK where the sun's setting at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I think people don't realise that the sun sets at 3 o'clock. So a lot of people, they're leaving their home to go to work and it's dark. And then when they're leaving the office and coming home, it's dark, right? And you don't get that circadian rhythm thing going on, you know, where sunlight hits the back of your, hits your retina and that, and triggers stuff, the vitamin D element, right? The sense of well-being and things like that all go to pot. And the UK is notoriously bad for that. So yeah, and I've lived in like hot sunny climates, but most of my formative living life, yeah, places like the Middle East, places like Southeast Asia, right? That's where I spent most of my formative years of my life, to be honest. So I think my body's become very tuned to living in that climate, and then you come and live somewhere like this, and it's just already so depressing anyway as a country, just because it's so totalitarianism. Yeah, it's such a police nanny state, which is so opposite from my culture, yeah, from my value system, that, you know, I already feel like a prisoner in my own country, and so I might as well just be a prisoner in my own home, which is what I've done for the last couple of weeks, while I'm trying frantically to keep this YouTube channel alive and not go bankrupt, which obviously that happened ages ago. But yeah, I would just really like YouTube to give me a break and stop removing all my subscribers. And, you know, how does it take 4 years to get 1,000 subscribers when there's other people who have been streaming for less than 6 months and they've already got 4,000 subscribers? Work that out. And their videos are just nasty, and they haven't even spent their life as an award-winning SEO and video producer. You know, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So, and like I say, it's not my first channel that's been stung by YouTube. I just wish I knew what I'd ever done to them. Apart from develop the first ever Google Maps back in 2001, that then became Google Maps. That was interesting. I've always wondered if that was it. I shouldn't mention that. But anyway, yeah, I'm just sick of this whole being held back, being bullied, no matter how much I push back and push through it, and just be as creative as possible and as innovative as possible, hoping that that'll be enough. And nah. And yeah, and like I say, I've just had another channel taken away from me in November, and I can't even get the money I'm owed from that from it. But there's no one you can talk to, there's no one you can reach out to, and all because I've got more than one Google account. And I've spoken to people who have boasted about having 8 YouTube accounts and never 8 YouTube and Google accounts and never had a problem, and yet mine gets completely destroyed. Yeah. It's just bullshit. It really is. I'm so sick of it. It just doesn't have to be this difficult. But you know what? I'm kind of thankful for it, because it just makes me try even harder to be even better than everyone else. And whether I obtain that or not, at least you're striving to that. If you think like the only way you can be successful is to be, you know, is to just try 100 times harder than anyone else just to have the same level of, you know, response back than anyone else, then if that's the lemons that I've been dealt in my life, then I guess I've just got a shitty end of the stick for my life. And it's been like that since I was kicked out on my own at 15 years old, right? With no one to fall back on, no one to rely on, no one to pick up the pieces. I've only had myself to rely on all my life. And so I guess this is no different. Some people go through life with all the luck, with all the handouts, with all the fucking success, and with all the opportunities that, you know, they haven't even been looking for, just fall in their lap. And there's other people, it doesn't matter how hard you try, how good you try and be, how many awards you win, it still isn't good enough. It still isn't good enough. And I wonder why. Yeah, I try so hard not to manifest. Everyone goes on about manifestation and stuff, and I think there's definitely something in that. Yeah, it'd be silly to suggest not. And I'm a super positive person, let's face it, I have to be, to deal with all the bullshit setbacks. But like they say, you know, if everybody was to put all their problems on the table, everybody will walk away with their own problem again. So, you know, some people are in hospital right now with their loved one dying next to them, right? So we have to be realistic about, you know, how bad life really is. And some people would say that merely by living in the West, merely by having somewhere to live, merely by having any food in the fridge, you're already well ahead of about 95% of the average population. So, do you see how neat and tidily Hugo Bear's sitting there analysing the lake? I don't know what he thinks he's going to see. Well, I do actually. It's ducks. And swans is what he cares about. Yeah. You're right, baby. Beluga mongrel in the house. Good to see you, my man. I'm just checking in with the wolf pack and just confirming that I'm still alive. Just about. Just trying to survive, you know. I don't want to have to jack all this in and, you know. So, I'm having to beaver away in the background to try and find ways of keeping this channel alive against all odds. So I apologise. I apologise for my crapness. What do you think, Hugo? Do you think Daddy's crap? Think you got a crap daddy? You can't afford to take you anywhere nice or feed you any nice food or... Oh, what a failure. What an absolute failure, eh? Ah, dear. But he's well locked in. What can you see, baby boy? Should we put the boost beam on? This is the O-Light boost beam. Ready? Double tap. Whoop. Cool, look, you see right to the other side of the lake. These are all the spots where the fishermen sit. Yeah. And basically there's, I think it's about there, if I can get the torch over there, that spot there is where in my video I went to go and pick up some water from the lake so I could test it on the Live in the Labs series that I do with my Sawyer mini filter. So it's a pretty big lake, so for this torch to get all the way to the other side like that's pretty impressive. What do you think, Hugo Bear? Are you impressed? He just wants to see ducks. Antonio, you're very far from crap. I don't know. You see, the problem is, Antonio, that most people just think that I don't know what I'm talking about or I'm crap because I've only got like 1 or 2 subscribers, so I obviously can't know what I'm talking about, right? I'm poor as hell, so the only people who know what they're talking about and the only people who are successful are the people that are rich, apparently. So in 99% of people's minds, I'm pretty useless. Yeah, because I'm not rich, I'm not successful. Yeah. So in British culture, I'm a complete loser, right? But I'm all right with that. I'm all right with that. It depends what your value system is. Like I said, it's helping people that gets me off, right? But at the same time, I have come to the realization that the only way to truly be free, which is what I value as freedom, is to be financially free is where it starts. And so however evil I think, or have felt and become to feel like capitalism has become an evil thing, even though I was like so far in the corporate career back in the day, it's not even funny, that I guess I've come to the realization that, you know, I don't know, I guess, you know, financial freedom is the only way to attain freedom. And so if what you want to be is to be free and to be able to decide where you live and who you surround yourself with and what food you get to eat and things like this, it's not about complaining that everything's so expensive. It's about, you know, changing what you're doing to try and be able to afford the things that you know, want to be able to do for your son, for your doggies and for your loved ones and for your missus, right? And sometimes it's just difficult to have to accept that, you know, the only thing that people seem to value in life is money, right? They don't seem to value integrity or talent or anything like that. It's like, if you haven't got the money to show for it, you're shit, mate. Yeah, you're shit, mate. Do you know, when I was living in Thailand, right, I'll give you an example. There was this dude, right? He was a well-dodgy geezer. He was a British dude as well, right, in Thailand. And he was starting a business there. And all he went on about all the time was how much of a millionaire he was. Now, I'll tell you one thing. I've met millions of millionaires, like literally, in the business that I was in corporate life. Everyone I was talking to on a fucking, every meeting, 3 meetings a day with CEOs of businesses that I was having meetings with were millionaires. So believe me, I know millionaires, right? And the one thing that you'll know is that they never talk about being a millionaire. They don't even ever talk about money. So that's how the first thing when you know someone's not a millionaire is when they tell you they're a millionaire. Okay, so that's the first rule. But you know what? People like that, right, this guy, I mean, he ended up getting arrested where we lived and spent the rest of 10 years in the Bangkok Hilton, which is one of the worst jails you can end up in, right? And so me and this guy had a falling out, and I was developing his entire marketing campaign, his website for his fishing resort and stuff, right? And you know what? When he threw his dummy out the pram, and I was building one of these drone systems, which wasn't called drones back then. You remember I said to you, like back in 2002, and me and 2 other guys developed one of the first ever quadcopters to fly. It was like a combined effort, and it was around that same time. And so I was putting this thing together, and you know what this guy said to me? Like, this is what makes me laugh inside, and how to me money is a funny thing, right? Is that at the time we had our doggy, which was a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, right? And we took her from the UK, and when we moved to in Thailand, we took her with us, right? And she, you know, we flew her to Thailand. Now, she was already an old dog when we went to Thailand. She was like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old or whatever, and she lived until she was like 14, 15. And, oh, Paul Coleman in the house, thank you so very much. Oh. He's done a behind the scenes super chat. He's such a geezer, it's not even funny, man. It's people like Paul C that I have to really, really thank so very much. He's helped me in so many ways, Paul. Thank you, buddy. Bless your ass, man. So do you know what was funny, right? This guy, I can't even remember his name if I wanted to remember it, but he came on my house, right? And I had my big old helicopter that I was developing as well at the time, which was going to be my camera rig, right? And I said to him, and he started questioning some shit, right? And you know what? This dog, Leah, her name was, that we had when we were living in Thailand, she was quite old, right? And she had arthritis and that, right? And because, you know, we care about animals, yeah, we got rid of our bed, yeah, because our dogs have always slept in the bed with us, right? Including Hugo Bear. And so we had this, you know, a bed, it was quite high, and then a mattress on the top. And Leah couldn't get on the bed because she was getting old, right? So we got rid of the bed and just had our mattress on the floor, like literally so that our dog could get on the mattress with us, to get on the bed with us, right? And you know, when this guy was flipping out at me in my own house, right, he said to me, first of all, he said to me, my fridge costs more than your helicopter, right? And then he said to me, you can't even afford a fucking bed, you're so successful. I'll never forget that. You can't even afford a bed, you're so successful. Now, my home office was in the house, right? And it was like a very open plan sort of Western style villa that we owned at the time and we were living in, right? And it wasn't massive, it wasn't anything posh. And this is how fixated about money he was. And if you didn't have money, you were basically nothing to him. And this is how you know he's not really a millionaire, because that's not how people who are successful are. But it was kind of funny because it was like, wow, man, he's making all these judgments and now he's saying that I ain't got any money because we just got a mattress on the floor. And yet, if only he knew, the reason we had a mattress on the floor was so that our dog could still get on the bed in her elder years. And it's moments like that where you just have to kind of chuckle to yourself, you know, internally, inside your own heart. You know, you have this little chuckle to say, if only you knew, and the fact that that's all you care about, and you think that by highlighting how poor I am, right, is going to be some way of annoying me. But like I say, when you don't really have an ego like that, you know, I'm not really I'm not really bothered what people think, because I know who I am. I know I've lived my life in a way that I don't ever have to look over my shoulder. I've never done any wrong. I've never ripped anyone off. I've never scammed anyone. I've never stolen anything from anyone. Yeah, and I think that's really, I'm quite happy with having lived my life the hard way, let's say, especially being on the streets from the age of 15. I could have done a lot of shit that I didn't. Yeah, 2 of my friends ended up committing suicide from getting into drugs. 2 of my other friends ended up getting arrested, who were all in a similar situation to me, that I met over the years when I was on my own at 15. The first maybe, 3 weeks sleeping rough, and then, I was 15 and then I became 16, so then I could go to the council and I managed to get signed up to the college, which then afforded me with income support, and I could get a little bed sit, right? That's how I started life. And I've never really looked back, and I think that's part of that Sigma mentality is that when you've been on your own all your life and only had to rely on yourself and no one has ever come to your aid, and you never had any handouts, never had rich parents or anything like that, never had anyone there to help you. And in fact, you know what? My dad has been such a massive, and I've only been back in touch with my dad for the last like 5 years. Yeah. I hadn't seen my dad for 30 years, and then 2019, just before COVID kicked off, I found him and got back in touch, and he's been such a force in my life and our son's life as well. You know, he loves Granddad, and you know, I think everything happens for a reason, so I'm really thankful for that. And you know, I had a falling out with my little sister just before Christmas, to the point where I don't think I'm going to talk to her ever again, because she's such a meanie, right? And I just don't have any time for meanies anymore. Yeah, so I've always felt a bit distant from my family. I've always been the black sheep, and I know a lot of people who follow this channel like share that. A lot of people share that thing. You know, they say, oh, what is it that brings us all together as a Wolfpack community, man? What is it that makes us the same? And it's because we just don't come from this sort of environment of big families where everybody likes you. We've often been people who have been, you know, independent and had to figure stuff out for ourselves. A lot of us have been through some pretty traumatic stuff early in our lives, and you know, we've come to learn that there's nobody coming to your rescue. The government certainly isn't going to be there to help you. If they wanted to, they just don't have the resources, and let alone if you've grown up in a way you've never had family to help you or back you up or anything ever in my life. So I think you already become a certain type of person because you have to be, right, just to survive. And in terms of, you know, just trying to do everything yourself, which isn't always the best way to do it. Just because you can do things on your own doesn't mean that you should all the time, as they say, yeah. And I've been guilty of that mistake many times, which is why, you know, part of that is because I've never been able to afford to pay someone else to do it. You know, so my way of getting around it is to just learn how to do it myself, Sigma styley, you know, and do it that way. You're right, baby, it's getting a bit chilly, isn't it? I think it's definitely less than 6 degrees centigrade now. Come on, we got this way, baby boy. Good boy. We didn't even have a lakeside cuddle, did we? Hold on, let's have a lakeside cuddle, because it's a bit traditional. Let's come and get to the lakeside. Right, wait. Sit. Good boy. Look him. Oh, hello, baby. Hello, baby. Big hugs. Big Hugo hugs. He's such a handsome boy. He's such a handsome boy. I love you, baby. Hugo and Daddy. Daddy and Hugo. What I love about Hugo Bear is that he never ever denies you a hug. Come on in, baby boy. Let's do it. No, we'll go this way. This is where the cool doggies go. Come on. We've got to hope it's not too muddy. Come on, there's a good boy. You get your biscuit when you get home. Mind you, he's already had a walk today, so that's going to be his second treat biscuit today. Like, he has these like really big bones for his little treat when he gets home. And the only time he gets those bones, biscuit bones, is when he's had a walk. So that's like the highlight of his day. Well, as well as afters, his afters today was spaghetti bolognese with garlic bread supreme. It's not really garlic bread supreme. I think that's a brand name in it from Pizza Hut. But basically garlic bread with cheese melted on it. So that's what Hugo had for afters today. So my my secret bug out wild camping spot's up here. Not right up here, I have to go that way about half a mile, but I can see it from here. I might even be able to see it with the O-light. If I put it on boost mode, it might be able to light up the trees of the place that I go for my wild camps. And to be honest, I want to do a wild camp while it's still cold, because I need to test my under blanket for my hammock. I've never camped with it before. I've had that under blanket from DD Tarps for about DD Hammocks, yeah. I must have had that under blanket for about 2.5, 3 years now, and I've never taken it on camp because it just hasn't been cold enough. And so, right, we'll get up here a bit and we'll see if we can see my little secret location. There's a train coming, look. Remember when I'm on my camp, yeah, and you hear the trains in the background? So that's the train line there. It's like a big old freight train. They're like, you know, with containers and stuff. Looks like a big one. I think that's probably about 35, 40 container one, that one. Let's do a double boost. You just about see the trains, look. So that way, right, there you go. You see that tree line there? That's basically where I do my, that tree line right over the other side of the field is where I do my secret wild camps. Obviously it's not secret anymore. Let's pop that back to normal mode. Otherwise the torch won't even last till we get home. Torch, aka flashlight. Headlamp. I think Americans call it a headlamp. It's not a head flashlight, is it? It's just either a flashlight for Americans is a... That's it, get your divots up there, Hugo Bear. You've got yourself wrapped up in the lead now. Yeah. I don't even know. I haven't seen anyone in the chat for ages. Is anybody here? I can't even see what's... So yeah, I'm really sorry it's so boring. It's not like supposed to be any interesting video. I just wanted to touch base really and just confirm that I'm still alive, and I'm struggling through trying to keep the business alive, that's all. And sometimes you would think, well, making lots of videos is the way that you can, you know, become self-sustainable financially, but funnily enough, it's kind of already beyond that, you know. I've already been running on fumes for the whole year last year, and like I say, I haven't been paid last month or this month, and I'm not sure if I'm going to get paid next month either, and I'm not going to last till then. So I just wanted to give it a heads up. I'm sorry. And it's just, like I say, on top of that, Magic Hand, Mrs. Secret Prepper, is having some big issues as well, which is pretty dire. And she's been the one, you know, Magic Hand's been the one to keep the short term figured out. Now, I'm living on $280 US a month, just so you know. Right, $280 a month. And I'm in my 40s, right? I'm in my 40s. I've won 3 global awards and countless other awards in all sorts of things in my life. And I'm living on $280 less a month. Yeah, how embarrassing is that? And I've got a 16-year-old child to support as well. And people don't believe me. They think I'm lying. They think I've got all this like money from somewhere or something. Otherwise, how do I keep doing this? I'll tell you how I keep doing it. It's because Magic Hand's working her fucking nuts off, right? Trying to keep the electric bill paid, while I'm trying to keep the internet connected and my software license is paid for. And all the while, like, everything seems to be doing everything it can to just this is why it feels like sabotage sometimes. Just there's no way that number of bad luck things happen to 2 people, and we've always been like that. So yeah, I just got to try and be positive and pull through and remind myself that I've always managed to before, somehow, some way. And you guys have always been there for me, and you've always been there to support me. And if it's not financially, it's just at least like from the motivation and to maintain the commitment to the cause, regardless of everybody trying to take it down and stop me and get in my way. I get it. People who know me from what I did in 2020 will know why, and why I'm stupidly considered such a threat to the powers that be. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. This way, baby. Hugo. No. No. Come. 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 Come on. We can't go that way, Hugo. Well, we can, but we can't. And he wouldn't understand the reasons why not. He doesn't care about 4G signal. Ah, yeah, if I go that way, the signal will cut out basically. There's a very sort of set out route that's safe to, you know. So lots of weeing you do tonight, mister, which is good. Letting all the local residents know who's boss. You want cuddles? Okay, come on in, let's have some cuddles. There's a good boy. Better? Is that better? Yeah, I kind of like the fact that sometimes he will just stop and wants to have a cuddle before we move on. I think we're pretty perfect for each other in that way. I was talking to someone the other day about that. You know, some people's dogs are just like really antisocial. They don't like being hugged or kissed or stroked or, you know, any of that stuff. Whereas he can't get enough of it. Like whenever I go and lie on the sofa, if I'm going to chill out for 5 minutes before dinner watching TikTok, he comes running downstairs all excited, goes on the sofa, likes to tuck himself behind my legs on the sofa. But I kind of like it. Some people aren't really like that with their animals, and I'm not embarrassed to say I'm an animal hugger. Hell, I hug trees, let alone Hugo Bear. I'll tell you what I seem to have been quite fascinated by, even though I don't really know much about her, is that Blake Lively thing going on at the moment. Let me know in the chat if you've been following that, which I don't follow any shit like that, but just sometimes stuff randomly comes up on you know, my TikTok feed, and it's like this sexual harassment charge, but not Blake Lively, and now all the evidence is coming out showing that it's completely the opposite, and it's actually I think it's what's his name, Ryan Reynolds, is it? You know, Blake Lively. I didn't even know they were married, but apparently he's got well jealous on set and was demanding to see the dailies, yeah, which is like the unedited footage from the day's filming. And I think Ryan Reynolds has got really jealous about this other guy who she's acting with doing a kissing scene that they've tried to make out is some sort of inappropriate behaviour, but it's backfired completely, and it turns out it's in fact the opposite. So another one of my predictions is that Ryan Reynolds, is it Ryan Reynolds? I think so, as in Deadpool, right, and Blake Lively will not still be married by the end of this year. I'll tell you that now. That's just another one of my 2025 predictions. We'll see if that comes true. But yeah, I don't think that's gonna be a good look, and I think Hollywood's already having a big problem. Yeah, no one's really into it anymore. Yeah, they're all losing big time money. So, and this whole, you know, DEI thing's got way out of control. And you'll notice I haven't mentioned anything about Trump today. I don't even know what to say about that. I'm not sure what to say about that. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. But I'm not feeling like I thought I would about, you know, who's who's as perhaps. I'm cautious until proven innocent, unfortunately. Yeah, well, when you look at the daily videos that were leaked, you'll see what I mean. And you'll see that, in fact, it looks more like it is Blake Lively doing the flirting with this, I forget his name. And that was why Ryan Reynolds, or whatever his name is, and her were arguing in her trailer. And then, since then, all this stuff started happening, and he started messing around with the scripts and changing the love scenes and talking about having an intimacy officer on set the whole time. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on the Trump situation. I'll tell you what concerns me is how it's such, like, when you see a lineup of billionaires and tech billionaires all standing next to him, I just can't help but feel like it's not a good look. It's not a good look. And this whole thing with the TikTok ban is a complete scam. See, was that Daily there or was Sandy? Just flashed up last minute. Daily Survival. Obama and Jennifer Aniston are seeing each other. What the fuck? Do you know, I was wondering what was going on with that. Because I noticed that they were saying that Obama turned up without Michael. Yeah? So Michael hasn't been seen for ages. Which is sus. But yeah, I heard that about the Jennifer Aniston thing. And wasn't sure if it was nonsense or not. Come on, Hugo. We're outside someone's house here. Come on. Good boy. Got to be quiet around here. There's a row of about 5-6 houses along here. These are the houses that me and Magic Ham want to live in. Come on, good boy. God, it's windy as hell now. Sorry if it's real bad wind noise. So yeah, I'm not feeling confident about the Trump thing like I thought I was going to. I'm feeling more and more like it's some sort of I don't know, a play. Yeah. Isn't she a dude also? Yeah. Well, what? Jennifer Aniston. I heard that. I tell you who else I heard that about was, what's her name? Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock was another one people said was potentially, which I'm not sure if I believe that or not. God, it's really cold now. It's probably more like down to like 1 degree centigrade, I think. Maybe 2. But I think it's just the wind chill that's affecting it. Because it's well windy. I do apologise for the... I'm going to put my hood up. I'll do it for you, Suspect One with Trump. AI strategies program should be a major concern. Yeah, big time for people. That's laying the groundwork. Some serious issues. Yeah, there's a lot of things, man. I agree. There's a lot of shit that just doesn't add up, and it's quite concerning. And I think the people have been had. Outlawed in the house. Yeah, look, Taylor Swift as well is getting it. Rightfully so. Yeah. Like they say, the world is a stage, right? And I think we're about to get played again. I do. I mean, we're being played all the time, obviously, but I just think, you know, I don't know. You see, the problem is that typically there comes a point in time politically where in order to really bring in the change that a government needs and wants and knows it has to bring in, they're never going to be able to bring in these changes under the guise of anything else other than like they did during you know what in 2020, where they have to have a reason to be totalitarianism about it, right? They have to have a reason to be and I think the last administration, people have to assume the possibility that the last administration that was in there was doing everything that they were doing to create a crisis enough so that people wouldn't have a problem with Trump coming in, making drastic, major draconian swooshes of his pen, right? And however much it seems like he's on our side, and however much it seems like Elon Musk is doing the right things, there's just some key questions that you got to ask yourself that just you can't really answer any other way, right? You just have to accept. You just got to accept that they're not even doing the things that they're doing because they want to. You know, this is just part of their globalist plans, right? We've got Agenda 2030 coming, and sure, it looks like Trump's rolling some stuff back, but I just wonder at the expense of what. And I'm really suspicious any time somebody gets given the Nobel Peace Prize, because that's a strategy. That's a psychological strategy, right? Like they did with Obama, yeah? They gave Obama the Peace Prize within 3 months of being in office before he'd done anything. And the only reason they gave him it was to give him a shield for what he was going to be doing, which is going to war with anyone that would listen, right? And that was what he was known for, was starting more wars, I think, was it, than all other presidents combined or something? I know Obama created more debt in the country than had been created by every president before him in the history of the United States. That's already quite an achievement. And so I think I'm concerned that they've given him the Nobel Peace Prize without doing anything, because typically they do that as a protective shield so that when he goes warmongering, people will be like, what are you talking about? He's the guy who won the Peace Prize. You see? And that's how they used it with Obama, right? That's how he was protected, right? But all the wars that he started was, you know, he was protected by the fact that they gave him the Nobel Peace Prize for nothing. He didn't do anything, right? But it was purely to allow him to get away with warmongering, and nobody would suspect it, and that was his plausible deniability that they gave him from the beginning. And I just feel like this could be a similar thing, and I've talked about Thucydides' trap before, where a dying empire is taken over by a growing empire, and it typically always ends in war, as it will this time, as the power goes to the east from the west. And it's our own fault, yeah, it's our own fault for concentrating on trying to meddle with every other country around the world rather than just doing our own thing, developing our own nations, developing our citizens, developing our infrastructure, developing, you know, rather than doing that, we've just spent all of our time trying to hold all of the other countries back because we can't compete on a level playing field as the West. Can't compete with China, so we have to, you know, we can't compete with Russia, so we have to sanction them. Can't compete with China, so we have to put tariffs and sanctions on them, right, to make their stuff more expensive so that people will even consider buying Western made stuff that's typically nowadays a lower quality and a higher price. The quality isn't even as good as China anymore, right? People think that Chinese is bad quality. No, it's not. Where do you think your Samsung comes from? Where do you think your iPhone comes from? Right? I mean, no. And I think this is one of the things that's happened recently where it's all backfired, because where they said they were going to ban TikTok, I don't know, for those that don't know, what happened was, it's almost like you would consider a black swan event. It was a black swan event that no one could have predicted, because what happened is that when they were talking about banning TikTok, what did people do? They went on to Rednote. And Rednote is the Chinese version of TikTok, right, that the Chinese people have. And so what people were doing was to be signing up on a Rednote account, and there was a few people on TikTok that were showing people, you know, how to change the language to English, because obviously by default it's Chinese, and who can read Chinese apart from Chinese people? And so, yeah, there were some instructions where it's like, oh, if you click this button, click that button, you can put it into English. But what happened is at that instant, the people, Western people, joined the original Chinese version of the social media app. Westerners started to realise that everything they've been told about China, as I've been trying to convey myself for years, having lived in Asia for so long, people have suddenly realised that everything their Western governments have told them about China is a complete and utter lie. It's all a lie. They're so ahead of us, it's not even funny. Technologically, culturally, infrastructure, manufacturing, design, innovation, AI, you name it. Yeah, even fintech. Yeah, they are way ahead of us, which is why the Western media has done everything in their power to stop people from realizing how far behind the rest of the world we've become, because we haven't been developing our people, we haven't been developing our nations, we haven't been developing our technology, right? We've just been spending our entire time trying to start a war with Russia, trying to start a war with China, trying to start a war with anyone who will fucking listen, because at this point, it's the only way we can keep the economy going. Yeah? Military industrial complex, unless you've got a war going on, you don't have an excuse to print money and keep your manufacturing even in business with orders, right? And so on top of that, the objective with the demonizing China and trying to always hold them back with sanctions and all the rest of it, trying to ban them from having raw materials and these sorts of things, which again backfired completely, because then China turns around and says, all right, well, we'll just take away any of your supply of magnesium, of titanium alloy, and all the other stuff that America needs and doesn't have and can't make it themselves. And so they realize each time that all the time and energy and effort they've spent trying to hold China back, all they've ended up doing, both Britain and the USA particularly, all they've ended up doing is allowing China to just steam ahead, because we've just stayed still, right? And as they say in business, if you're standing still, you're going backwards. You're going backwards if you're standing still in business, because believe me, none of your competitors are staying still. They're always looking for the next thing, the next way to innovate, the next way to improve. You want cuddles? Okay. Oh, cuddles. There's a good boy. You okay? Are you cold? Are you alright? You're wet. You're wet is what you are. Come on in, mister. We'll give you a little towel down when we get home. It's not even raining or anything. So it's really disappointing, because we've basically given the baton away. Yeah, we've given the baton to China because we've spent all of our money, time and energy trying to stop China. Yeah, rather than making friends, rather than collaborating, rather than appreciating, rather than respecting. Yeah, and this is the problem with the West right now, is there's this hegemony mindset that we're the best in the world, which is why the Western governments have to do everything in their power to stop anyone from America or Britain or anywhere like that actually seeing what China is actually like. What's actually going on there, what their buildings look like, what their trains look like, yeah, what their prosperity looks like, right? It's all been a lie to convince you that we're the best in the world and we're the ones who just should decide how the world should be because we're the best. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. We haven't been the best for years. For years. Do you know what? 2001. Way up, baby boy. I just got to pop you on the step here because I've got to do my shoelace up. So, 2001, we moved to Southeast Asia, right? And do you know what? We went to Singapore. We spent a lot of time in Singapore, actually, I've got to tell you. But we went to Singapore, and I tell you now, even in 2001 was the first time I realised how far behind the world the West is. And I realised then what lies we had been spun about how great we are, because even back then, when you saw what was going on in Singapore compared to what we were doing, right? Like literally every single fucking hotel room had a flat screen in it, and no one had flat screens in 2001. Tell me anyone who had a flat screen in 2001, right? So this is the reality of the world that you're not allowed to see. Yeah, because you start to lose faith in your own governments when you start to realise, you know, the lives that people are living in these other countries that are far, far freer than we have ever been. And so what they have to tell you is that it's a slave camp country, third world country, and all this other stuff, which literally couldn't be further from the truth. It's so embarrassing. And I've been trying to tell people this for 20 years, And it was so funny to see the whole banning of TikTok backfire, where so many Americans went onto Red Note and saw with their own eyes what a shitty life they've got, what a shitty government they've got, and what a shitty country they've got in comparison. Yeah, that is what you call a black swan event. And then this is the problem. This is the death throw levels of desperation that our Western governments have come to get themselves into, where they have to resort to literally self-sabotage, nihilistic, just like the Canadian bank, you know, the Bank of Canada, was it? Central Bank of Canada came out calling the UK the most suicidal and nihilistic country on the planet right now, harming ourselves and harming our own citizens for the pursuit of virtue signalling, you know, virtue signalling for the climate change thing, right? It's almost like our government forgets that the sky above us is shared by everyone else in the world, and because of trade winds and things, it doesn't matter what we do in our country. Yeah. It's nothing that they're doing is going to make any difference to anybody here positively, only negatively. Yeah, destroying jobs, putting people in prison for not having enough insulation in their house. Yes, I'm not exaggerating. The UK government is talking about imprisoning people whose houses don't meet insulation guidelines. Wow. So that whole you all own nothing and be happy, well, that's one of the ways they're going to roll that out, right? Because all they need to do, and this is what the government's doing, is they just bring in more and more regulations, yeah, that make it entrapment to the levels of, they will just create so many things that you have to have done to your house or else that nobody can afford to do these things. So the government's like, okay, well, I'm going to seize your house then and put you in prison because you haven't put enough insulation in your attic. Wow. So yeah, this is the level we've got to. This is the level of desperation, yeah, that they've got to in the West. And I never thought I'd see the day of the collapse of the Western Empire, and here we are. We're living through it. And so many people don't even realise it yet. They still think we're the best in the world. They still think we've got it in the bag. They still think we're going to win. Yeah, and this is the only thing we need to prepare for, is the fact that the West isn't going to win. We lost years ago. It's just your governments haven't told you yet. Yeah. So that's the biggest concern right now, because the only thing it results in is all-out war. It's the only way to get, for them to get where they are now to where they want to be. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, with the way that AI innovations are happening, that is a real what do you call it, arms race, I'm going to call it. Hello, I'm just hugging my tree. So yeah, there's an arms race going on right now with AI. Why do you think Trump and, you know, Sam Altman and that have come out with their $500 billion AI data center? Well, guess what, Billy boys? You're too late. China's way ahead of the game on that. And this is the problem. Whoever figures out the levels of AI first wins everything. And I mean everything. You're not going to beat any military that's ahead of the game with AI. You're just not. And I think America's about 3 years behind in some levels, right, with what they're up to in China at the moment. And we don't have the energy, don't forget they do, right? Because the West has been doing their whole green stuff all the time, and energy's an enemy, enemies and energy, energy's an enemy, right? That's all they've got on, yeah? Fuel bad, yeah? Oil bad, gas bad, yeah? Energy bad. We just stop everybody using energy. And how do you think you're going to be training large language models with hundreds of thousands of data servers in a data center, right, that are using hundreds of gigawatts of power to the point where they're theorizing they're going to need at least 2 nuclear power stations just to run the AI system? How's that going to work? Because China's already got an abundance of free energy, China's already got an abundance of cheap energy. So that already means that they win, we don't. Because you need an awful lot of energy. For those that don't know, the average AI prompt that you give I'm an AI consultant, by the way. The average AI prompt that you give uses about 76 watts. If you understand power and you understand what 76 watts is, you'll understand that things like AI are going to be reserved for the elite very soon, because the cost of producing artificial intelligence responses, it doesn't scale very well for anyone that doesn't know, right? And this is the problem they've got, is that in America you just don't have the infrastructure like they got in Southeast Asia. You don't have access to the cheap energy that they do in China, and you don't have access to the expertise and the raw materials that China do. So it's not going to happen, right? Because don't forget, all of those chips that America thinks they're going to buy to put in their AI systems, who do you think makes the chips? China! Ding, 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 ding. Right, we're not losing. We're not winning this one. We're just not winning this one. We've already made our bed by trying to be the enemy of the up and coming global Eastern Empire of China and the bigger Southeast Asia. Right? This is the reality of what we're facing. And all the world leaders know it. All the world leaders see it. Right? Why do you think there's 76 countries? Is it 76 or 78? Is it 78 new countries applying to join BRICS nations? Why do you think that is? Huh? Why do you think that is? Because they don't have any confidence in China? Because they don't have any confidence in their system? No, it's because they don't have confidence in ours. The world's done with us. They're done with our warmongering. They're done with our bullshit corruption. They're done with our lawfare. Yeah, done with all our sanctioning. Done with America using the US dollar as some sort of weapon against any country that doesn't do what they say to do, or else. Believe me, people are done with it. They're done with us. That's the reality of it. That's what's really going on in the world, for those that want to know. So there, I said it. So anyway, we're getting near to the end of our walk now, Hugo Bear. How long has it been? 82 minutes. Why you can't tell me that's an hour and 22, I don't know. But 82 minutes we've been streaming. And I apologise, there's been nothing planned to talk about. I just wanted to touch base and let you know I'm back in the game. I've had to take a few weeks out. I've got some financial crises going on that, you know, I can't expect you guys to fix for me, despite how much I try and effort I put in and everything else. It's not fair. I just need to get my shit together. So I'm working on doing that. And I'm hoping to have a lot of stuff to share with you over the next few days once it's finished, amongst other things as well I'm working on that will become apparent. So yeah, this is a playing field that, like I say, I used to fly my drone in until the government made sure that it was demonised as a sport and a hobby. Oh, Hugo's got himself tangled down. Right. So yeah, big playing field. Right, so thank you to everybody for joining me. I'm sorry it was so boring and nothing really I was planning to talk about. Like I said, I wanted to just touch base and say hi, and I'm all good. I'm all healthy. I'm all, you know, doing my thing in the office, working my nuts off, building what I'm building for you guys. And I hope it will be appreciated the other end, basically. So yeah, that's the plan. Hugo, come here. Smells beautiful, I know. Good boy. Yeah, so I'm gonna, what's the time? I don't know, it must be about 1 o'clock or something. 1:30 in the morning maybe. So yeah, but thank you to everybody for joining me, and I'll be doing a video of some substance at some point in the next couple of days, don't worry. But like I say, I just wanted an excuse to touch base with you guys. I thought just going out for a walk and being amongst nature, and then I don't have to show my face either, which suits me just fine, and I'm sure suits you just fine. Who wants to see this ugly mutt? But anyway, in the meantime, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for support. Thank you so much to Paul C as well for your coffee. I really appreciate that, man. Every little helps in that. Oh dear. So yeah, thank you everyone, and yeah, I guess, you know, I shall see you in the next one, which won't be very long at all. But so yeah, from me and Hugo Bear, love, peace and progress to the pack.